Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, your source for all hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, alternative, punk, horror punk, hardcore, rock, and all local bands, with your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
This is Paul, bass player for Say Never, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guest do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather, and as always, I'm bringing you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today it's an honor and a privilege to have Mr. Paul Lawrence. He's the bassist of Say Never. Say Never has released the official music video for their single Do It Again, featuring Billy Gray of Fozzy and Tattoo the Scars. Say Never released their debut single earlier this year entitled Giving Up, and we're going to be talking to Paul about all this good stuff and what's all down the line for Say Never. So, Paul, how's it going, man?
Man, I'm doing pretty good, John. How the hell are you?
Doing awesome. Glad to have you on the show.
Great. I'm really happy to be here.
So how's it been working with tag publicity so far for you guys?
Well, I've known about tag publicity for quite some time, and I've never had a project to really sink my teeth into that needed a good publicist. So when this project basically came about, I knew from the get-go that we were going to have to promote, and this was going to be some good music to promote that people will really love. So I contacted the guys over at Tag, and we started a promotional process on the first single and video, and now we're on the second one, and it seems to be working pretty well.
What's impressed or excited you the most about making the music video Do It Again, and who directed the video?
The thing about our videos is we're flat broke, like most everybody else in the nation. So we have to rely on favors and people helping us. So technology is at the point where you can go out to your store and you can buy really good cameras and movie-making equipment and things like that, and you can go on the internet and you can figure out little tips and tricks. So at this point, we're pretty much as a band pooling all of our resources and doing our own videos. So the Do It Again video was one of those things that I've actually had the idea about a video like that for quite some time. And finally I had a song that I could do that with. And our guitar player, Ben Sumter, has a good amount of equipment and some skills of his own. And he was able to help us out and bring some equipment. And he and I both shot that video. And I actually directed it, and I basically called a lot of the shots when it came to what I was envisioning. And between the two of us, he and I, we shot the scenes. We talked about it on set and talked to our friends and got them involved. We got a friend of mine with the Badass El Camino, and the model that we used in that video is that guy's daughter. So, I mean, it all worked together. And I knew a guy with a metal shop, and I always knew that would be a badass place to do a video. And I hooked up with him at Iron Vine, and he was all about it and loved it. And I think it turned out pretty well. A lot of the little flash pictures in the video that's just up for just a split second, it's almost like a strobe effect. The weird thing is I just took photos in and around Atlanta, just little bits and pieces here and there, and I just cut them into the video. So it was more or less a big learning experience, but we basically did it all ourselves, and to our amazement, it came out pretty good. Hopefully everybody likes it.
Could you see yourselves doing more videos independently, just doing it yourself, possibly?
I would love to do independent videos, and I've talked to Ben about possibly doing that as an income stream as well, and that would be great. But it's just trying to get that word out and try to get people to knock on our door about that, because it takes a lot of work. It's not just the shooting the video of somebody playing a guitar in a dark room. You actually have to think about the shot, the lighting, camera angles, what's going on, how many times you got to do it, and it's tough on not only the artists, but it's fairly tough on the people behind the camera. We were really, really, really fortunate that on our first video, we had Rich Ward, who is a friend of our drummer, Rick Gaffman. We were able to get Rich Ward to come over from Fozzy and Stump Mojo fame, and he ran a lot of the camera, and we were able to talk to him, see what kind of shots he was doing, telling people holding the lights or whatever what to do with those, and we learned a lot from just his little tutelage of being on set and helping us out with that, and we just took that knowledge and ran with it. But if we had people calling us to do independent music videos, we would damn sure do whatever we could to make that happen, not only just as an income stream, but just because it's just a cool way to express yourself.
How long did it take to complete the video?
We shot the Do It Again video in 2 days, and then the editing process took me about a week and a half.
Oh, yeah.
And I edited that in my house on my computer. And the first edit that I came up with, it was a lot more vicious. It was more flashy, meaning that there was a lot more going on. There was a whole lot of movement. And everybody who looked at it before we actually got finished with it was like, dude, this is too much. I'm going into an epileptic seizure. So I had to scale it back a good bit, and that's what it came out. But it was definitely a labor of love, and I'm really proud about how the way it turned out. And like I said, hopefully everybody else will like it too.
It's all fun and games, man. I shouldn't say it's all fun and games. It's really fun when you get to do the interviews and do the videos. But when you have to go back and start editing, that's another story that's just don't. Oh man, it's sometimes it's hell to do the editing.
You're exactly right. And there's people who love to do that, and then there's people who don't. What I really dislike is when people see a final product, or even if you're showing somebody a final musical product, and then they have these grand visions of what it should be or what should be done, and they haven't put a whole lot of time and effort into the finalization of everything. That's what irritates me. And I know myself well enough to know that I'm not a engineer, a musical mixing person or a mastering engineer or anything like that. I know my limitations. So I'm happy to hand that type of stuff off to people who do that more often or who has a better ear. And we typically record at Lead Belly Sound Studios in Georgia, and then we hand off the recordings for the mixing process over to our friend Rich Ward, Stump Mojo and Fozzy, and he puts his spin on it, and that's typically what we release.
See, it's just me doing this, so I got to do everything, which that's fine, but man, it's fun, and then it has its moments where I do the editing where I just want to say fuck this.
Yeah, and what I have figured out is if you kind of create a big canned text or just video footage or editing footage and just like implement things into it, it kind of helps do stuff. I mean, I'm a hands-on person myself. I like to mold everything myself, and it's really irritating whenever somebody else gets a hold of it and you know it's wrong and you know it needs to be fixed, but you can't touch it. That's the hard part for me.
Was it hard to choose between the current set of songs that you can talk about, which one would be the first single or video you wanted to release or push, or was it hands down giving up when you guys wanted to put something out there at the beginning of this?
Well, when I first met Jonathan, he is one of those people that he's got a voice and he's got melody dripping out of his soul. He's one of these people that can just pick up a guitar. It doesn't even matter if the damn thing's in tune. and he can make it sound like $1,000,000, and he can sing a song right there, which is really, really crazy. I mean, I've never met anybody in my life like this guy. So when we got together, we were writing songs, and he and I are both almost perfectionists, so it was really tough to really finalize songs. And actually, Giving Up was the very first song that he and I wrote together. And his experience in music has always been that he would write the song, he would write the lyrics, he would sing it and perform it. So really, I'm the first person that he's ever collaborated with actual lyrics and melody, things of that nature. So this is a big step forward in his progress as well. So when we got through with Giving Up, he really thought it was a hit song, and I have to agree with him. It just is one of those situations where I know the business a little bit to know that you have to promote this day and age. I grew up in the era where there was MTV, and you were able to see all these different bands on MTV, whether it's on Headbangers Ball or World Premiere Videos or whatever, and that's how they were promoting these bands. And then you would see them but you would hear them on the radio if you were lucky. This day and age, we don't have MTV like that. We don't have a captive audience like Headbangers Ball. So we have to do whatever we can and promote in social media. And with the ADD community nowadays, everybody wants instant gratification. If they don't like what they see or like what they hear within the first 3 to 5 seconds, they're on to something different. So it's extremely frustrating and extremely tough for people trying to get their name out. However, it's easy to do so because a lot of these outlets like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, it's all free to actually put your stuff out. But to get another person to look at it is quite another thing. And it takes a lot of work in itself. And that's where somebody like Tag Publicity comes into play to try to help get that promotional process out to get it in front of more people. If I had my way, I would love to be able just to make a phone call and be an opening slot for Alice in Chains and just go on a world tour and promote that way. But that's just not the case either, because that would cost a monumental amount of money to do as well.
What do you hope everyone takes away from the new singles, Giving Up and Do It Again, or message you hope to hear while listening to it, or just any of Say Never's music in general? Paul, what do you hope to get from it?
Well, Jonathan and I originally, when we sat down and talked about music, because he and I both have been around for quite a while, we learned a lot of things from mistakes in the past. And the one thing that we want is for people to be able to digest the music, understand it, and not have to really think about it, and just find themselves just kind of bobbing their head a little bit or just getting into it. And I've always said that the type of music that we create kind of goes towards the people who just broke up with a girlfriend or boyfriend and is in the bar or down in the damn dumps. Our music is there to kind of uplift them and get them back in the game.
Any songs standing out more to you than any right now on the album or EP that you're working on that you could talk about? I know it must change every time you listen to it, or every time you guys are working on this, but are there any that are sticking out for you possibly?
Well, I mean, we are still working on a batch of more songs, and we're writing new stuff all the time. Some stuff just gets thrown away, and other stuff kind of just grows legs. But I do know that Giving Up was one of the stronger ones that Jonathan felt really strongly about. And then Do It Again, I really felt strongly about, especially with the video. And then we have some others, nothing really in stone yet, title-wise, so it's really tough to answer that question other than what we have. But we do have a song called The Bottle that I really like, that he and I have written. So we're changing lyrics now, but just to make it work better. But it's more of a kind of a blues-based rock song, but it's still a heavy song. And I think once we get that finished, everybody's going to like it too.
And you guys are still currently writing on what you're going to be doing with an EP or current album or album, correct? You're still writing on stuff.
Yes, correct. The way the landscape of music nowadays, I don't know if a lot of the listeners realize, but it's not like the old days where a band would go into a studio and record an album, and then the record company would release the album and do promotion, and they would just go on tour. Yes, that does happen for the major artists, but very few bands nowadays are getting good record deals. So they're having to do a lot of stuff on their own budget. And I heard an interview with Clint Lowry from Seven Dust a while back, and he was saying that if he had his choice, he would release only singles going forward. And that kind of struck me kind of odd. But more and more that I listen to it, the more it resonates that, okay, with the way society is, they want something on a more constant basis. And that's what we're doing right now, is trying to release singles and videos and not release a big EP or LP like normal. But once we get a handful of videos and singles out there, then go backwards and collect them into an EP or a LP, and then release that, and then continue that process, kind of reinventing the wheel a little bit, just because it's a constant society where everybody wants something all the time.
Now, are you guys going to still continue to work with, Rich Ward on this to produce your songs?
We would like to, and there's nothing that I can see going forward that's going to change that, unless something comes up on his schedule that he can't do something and we have to go a different route, or if we figure out, if we get contacted by somebody else who wants to do it, that's fine too. And same way with Billy Gray. We wanted him to do the solo for Do It Again, and he basically just said, send me the tracks, and he pulled it up in his home studio, laid it down, and then sent it to Rich, and we didn't hear it until Rich was finished with it. So that worked out great too. But we talked about really wanting to get collaboration with more producers, more players, just to try to infuse different ideas and feels into it. Because when we were growing up, we always thought that it would be really cool if the bands that we loved would have little cameos by other bands or other artists. We always thought that would be really cool. So that's what we're going to try to do going forward. Now, will that work? Who knows? But that's the thought process.
Let me start that over. Do you see this band still musically growing from where it started, or has it just been more of a personal growth for all of you involved in Say Never?
I think it goes back to where it all started. As of right now, the majority of the songs that we are creating is coming from Jonathan. I am co-writing, helping with lyrics. But like I said before, he just got that stuff just oozing out of him like sap, and it actually makes you sick. But he's just one of those people that he just got it when it comes to songwriting. He can write a hit song, and that's great. It would just be great if we were all 18 years old and looked like movie stars, but that's not the case. But we're probably going to continue the format that we're going on and the direction. We've talked about interlacing some more country ideas. We've talked about interlacing some more metal ideas and some hip-hop ideas or some whatever. So, it's one of those situations where the musical taste that we have is so eclectic that we're going to pull ideas from wherever, and whatever it ends up being is what it ends up being.
When you're coming into the recording studio, do you like to do anything differently during the writing and recording process? I know that's two different concepts, but to help keep your mind fresh and open to not get bored, not get stale with it, do you like to do anything differently?
Me personally, I'm used to being able to write to a click track, and I can envision all the other parts in my head. So it doesn't really matter to me. I can just hit the voice record on my phone and start playing or start humming out something, and I'm fine. Jonathan, on the other hand, he needs the feel. He needs the full band experience with the drums going and everything, and then that's how he writes. And he's more of a spur-of-the-moment type writer, whereas I can mull things over for a few days and figure it out. So it's definitely different writing styles, And I know everybody has their own way they like to do it. And even sometimes things are just lightning in a bottle, and it just happens so quick you don't even know what happened. And those are the ones that really make you happy.
What can fans expect at a show from Say Never who have not got to see you guys live as of yet? What are they going to get when they come to see you?
Well, like I said, we've all been around the block, and we've all played hundreds of shows. So what we're going to aim to try to do is give everybody more than what they normally would expect. And that's going to require just a lot of show prep and a lot of movement. And we really like it when fans look at us and sing the songs back to us. That there's no other feeling in the world like that.
How much local support does Say Never get locally?
It's really tough to gauge because we've only played one local show, and that the support of that show is really, really great. And we've had a lot of people asking when's our next show, which is a damn good feeling. So hopefully that question will be better answered in the next few months after we play some more local shows. But we're really expecting to be able to play out of state and around the Southeast, more so than in downtown Atlanta, just because we know that's our home base and we all have friends that's going to show up. But we really want to know what the rest of the Southeast and the nation really feels about what we're doing.
Now, where you guys are a do-it-yourself band as of right now, are you guys liking this digital era that we're in right now to get albums out quicker, and plus social media even to reach out to more people to hear of Say Never's music?
Yeah, like I said before, social media is great because it allows you to put your stuff out there, your music, your videos, whatever. But the trick is to try to get somebody to see it, try to get somebody to like it, try to get somebody to share it. And that's really the tough nut to crack. We're in the same boat like hundreds of other bands are. If we had a bunch of money, we would be promoting our asses off, and we would be going on these large tours and festivals and doing it that way. But we're just like everybody else in the world. We're trying to do the best we can, and hopefully that the fans out there will like what we're doing and buy a T-shirt at the show or buy a ticket to come see us play live whenever we're in town. Because that's how bands nowadays are paying their mortgages and paying their car payment. It's not from selling music, because I don't know none of my friends buy CDs. They don't download music. They go on Spotify and they just listen to it for free, just like I do. So it's more of a situation where the music nowadays is nothing more than a promotional tool to get people to like a song or to get the people to buy a ticket to come to a show.
What made you want to become a musician, Paul? What was that spark for you that said, yeah, that's what I want to do right there?
I don't even know what age I was at, but I remember watching Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble on TV when I was young on Austin City Limits, and I remember it was an RCA TV, and the damn color kept going in and out, but I knew just from watching that was something special. And ever since then, I've always envisioned myself doing something like that, and that's always stuck with me, that one episode that I saw on Austin City Limits with Stevie Ray Vaughan, that sealed the deal.
Is there a country that stands out or shocks you that Say Never gets support from, or the music that you have out right now even gets played in those areas possibly?
Well, recently we saw that there was something in Australia that was playing Say Never, and that slapped me upside the head because I wasn't expecting that. But to answer your question, Australia.
That's pretty cool, man. I mean, see, just like we said earlier, we're talking about the digital era and internet and things like that. This would have never been possible back in the day.
Well, like I said, when I grew up, it was an MTV era. So, I mean, that was kind of global at the time. But back in the day, I mean, you had to be good enough to be picked up by a record label, and that was the only way possible. And there's a lot of really, really great bands out there. Man, there's a lot of bad ones too, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of really good ones that will never see the light of day, whether they don't know what to do promotional-wise or they're just waiting on somebody to see them at a live show and just scoop them up and put them on a label, which very rarely happens anymore. But there's a lot of good bands that I've come across in my life that they're just like one step away from stardom, but they have no idea.
Yeah.
And it's just really tough when you see that, or you see them make the same mistakes over and over and over and over again, knowing damn good and well that if they weren't in Atlanta, Georgia, or wherever, if they were over in Germany someplace playing the type of music and doing what they're doing, it would probably be a different feeling altogether. And that's the one thing that's really crazy, is how different countries and different areas support different types of music and how they view music. And America is tough. It is a tough nut to crack when it comes to what we're doing. But over in Europe, we would be superstars if we lived and played over there, probably.
Is there a band on the bucket list that you would like to tour with, or maybe even do an old school album split with, Paul, possibly?
Me personally, it would probably have to be Alice in Chains. I grew up in the hair metal era, and I remember when Nirvana came out and just killed the hair metal era. And I remember hearing Pearl Jam. But when I heard Alice in Chains, I knew something was different. And since then, I've really been gravitated towards what they were doing. When Lane died, I was really wondering what was going on. And then they just picked right back up, and Jerry kept writing some songs, and they just kept trucking. So it would have to be Alice in Chains.
I just had William Duvall from Alice in Chains on the show not long ago. And
Atlanta boy.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, man, in all honesty, I don't think they could have found anybody else better to fit in that band after Lane's passing, and that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I just had chill bumps when you said that. I agree 100%. I saw Alice in Chains at the new Roxy in Atlanta, right next to the Atlanta Braves SunTrust Field.
Oh, wow.
About a year ago, and William Duvall was there singing, and if you close your eyes, you don't know Lane's not on stage. Easily. And
yeah.
And he did better than I ever expected, and I agree with you. They couldn't have picked anybody better.
And I'm also going to throw out a plug for William's new solo album, One Alone. You need to pick it up.
All righty.
October 4th, you want to pick it up, man. I'm telling you right now, I got to stream it for the interview with him, and there's not a bad song on that album. It is a straight-up banger. For the first song all the way to the last, it's nonstop good stuff. That's in my opinion.
That is fantastic. Did he happen to divulge who he was working with?
He did it himself. It's a solo album. It's under Duvall Recordings, DVL.
Right.
And
that's fantastic.
It's good stuff. Paul,
he's a hell of a star, man.
He's got a great voice too. He's very musically talented. Very musically talented. How can folks stay in touch with you guys? Buy some merchandise, tour dates, EPs, stuff like that. When all this happens, how can they do that?
To be quite honest, the best way to get a hold of us, more to keep track of what we're doing, other than regular social media, is just go to our website, which is sayneverband.com. You can watch our videos there. You can link to our social media platforms from there. And we're still hands-on to the point where if you send us a message, we're going to respond back. If you want to cut up, shoot the shit, whatever, we're gonna respond back. So that's usually the best thing to do is just go to sayneverband.com. You get our merchandise link there. You can watch our videos. You can get our links to our social media platforms right there. That's just the best way to do it.
And before I let you go, good sir, would you care to do a promo for the show?
It's not a problem. This is Paul, bass player for Say Never, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Radio Network. Please get out and check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link, YouTube link, and soon our Twitch link. Also, folks, please get out and subscribe and like the BODS Mayhem Hour YouTube page. Everything and anything that we do is going to go up on the YouTube page, plus our podcast link. So please, this is very important to us because we want to keep bringing all you guys and gals awesome stuff, which we're going to one way or the other. It does not matter. We will get these out. So, with that being said, get out and check out Say Never. Give them a chance. You may like them. Just give them that opportunity, folks. That's all I ask. And Paul, my friend, keep busting y'all's ass and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.